Hey guys, Foxy here. We're doing two updates today in order to get this series caught up with the developer update schedule, which is more or less weekly. I'd like to upload a review the day of the update uh, upload from the Sea of Thieves YouTube channel. It's January 12th today, so the game isn't right now in the same state. From me playing the game, I haven't noticed any really large updates. The one thing I'm very happy about is they have almost completely nailed the rowboat to the physics and continuity laws that we all know and love. The only small thing is that the rowboat will sometimes still bounce a little bit, and sometimes it'll get kind of glitchy when you jump on it while the ship is moving and the rowboat is attached. But other than that, all the previous bugs are basically gone, which is great because I love to use the rowboat in the game. Without further ado, let's get into this update. It's a much shorter update, it's only 8 minutes.
Hello everyone, Joe Neat here, executive producer on Sea of Thieves with another weekly dev update. So I hope everyone's had a great break and you've had some great New Year celebration and got to spend some time with friends and family. So as it's the start of the new year, it's a good time again to kind of reflect a little bit, but also think about what's to come. What's been great to see is Sea of Thieves and Rare included in a bunch of kind of end of 2018 lists that we started to see. Really great to see the recognition for all the work that we've done and just the impact that Sea of Thieves has had so far really gives us a boost again coming into the new year.
I have seen Sea of Thieves in a few top 10 and top lists for different gamers and different videos. So I think that Sea of Thieves has definitely had a big presence in 2018, and that's definitely something that is really good because that means that hopefully there's enough player base that Rare will keep working at this game and really make something truly amazing out of the arena that we're all waiting for.
So it's really great to see that. It's also been incredible to read everyone's SOT stories, to kind of sit down, relax and read all of these stories or watch the videos that people have put together has been absolutely incredible. As I come back into the new year, I'm pulling together a kind of presentation overall just to take our entire team through about what our plans are for this year and why we're doing what we're doing and everything.
Oh, that'd be so nice. Please, we want a to-do list for 2019. I think we knew like 3 updates forward what was going to happen more or less with the game. Playing a game that has a lot of sandbox side to it and a lot of repetition of similar adventures in it can become mundane if there's nothing to expect for sure in the future. I think especially for players who like myself who basically finished the game, it's really much more fun to enjoy the game and just come back to it and play regularly when you know that within a month or two for sure there's going to be some big update that you can prepare for, which the arena specifically I'm practicing my PvP and doing all kinds of wacky stuff in order to prepare for the arena. Whereas if the arena never existed and was never featured, I probably wouldn't be playing as much. So a to-do list would be really nice. I hope that we're getting one soon. It looks like, maybe.
I'm going to make sure I include some of those stories that people kind of submitted at the end of last year because I think it's a really great way to show the impact of what we've done so far and why it's so special and why it's so different, and it really helps motivate us as we think about the things that we've still got to come and still that we're looking to grow and expand on Sea of Thieves with. So thank you so much for sharing those stories with us. They're so powerful, they're so important, and they are why we do what we do. So thank you everyone.
Yeah, I've talked a lot about sentiment in the last update review, in my last DUR or DUR. Check it out, and I talk a lot about sentiment in there, and definitely COT's story was tied into that quite a bit. So I'm not going to talk about it much here. That's what I'm trying to say.
Another thing that's been happening over the break is that we've seen a lot of new players coming to Sea of Thieves. Since Shrouded Spores released, we've seen a lot of kind of renewed interest in Sea of Thieves, both from streamers and just generally from players and the public, and it's been amazing to see that awareness and to see that kind of growth and excitement and everything with Sea of Thieves.
Yeah, that's really important, is that you're only going to see growth in a game when you grow the game, and Definitely Sea of Thieves is taking their sweet time with each update. They are pretty good with their releases, but of course there's always room for making those updates more regular, maybe adding small things that aren't necessarily all themed together in a mini MMORPG adventure, but more or like a story quest kind of thing, but maybe adding things into the game that affect the game that are don't require a full update and a full build rat adventure tied into it to be released and tested. I can't believe I'm saying this, but Fortnite really does it well. They add small things with each update. Each season has like a huge little thing that they're adding into the game that doesn't hugely impact how we see the game or how we play it, but it impacts enough that it keeps people interested and keeps people satisfied with investing regularly and daily into playing the game.
So with so many new players coming into Sea of Thieves, and with Sea of Thieves being such a unique game, I think it's a really good opportunity to remind ourselves of the values that we hold dear to Sea of Thieves, and how we kind of encourage them and influence them to behave in the right way. Because Sea of Thieves is a game with so much freedom and so much control over your own kind of destiny within the world. That's really important to us, that we give players that freedom when we see their creativity. But with that kind of that freedom and that power comes great responsibility on the part of all of our players. And one of the things that we did really early on with Sea of Thieves was we put together the Pirates Code. So what the Pirates Code means to me is that everybody is welcome on Sea of Thieves. Like, we do not discriminate against anyone for any reason, and that won't be tolerated by us, the development team. It shouldn't be tolerated by anybody in the community.
Yeah, you better start tolerating those 9-year-olds with the ear rape mics because they're people too, you know. So please respect the 9-year-olds. Respect because they're coming with the arena battle royale. Just kidding. But it is true. There are some people that are pretty vulgar and harsh with other people, and there's some racism. you know, I do play with open crews quite a bit, and I do run into some people that are very they are very much on the edge of abusing other people in this game and verbally. And it's with having open mic, you can't censor um, a lot of the words that you can say, you know, that can be very hurtful and that can be very disheartening. Uh, Especially the game being such a free world, it's such a contrast to have such people in that game. It makes it such a dulling, emotional lunge, to the passionate players in the game. So if just treat other people equally. I mean, everyone's playing the game for fun. Everyone wants to have a good time. If your definition of good time is screwing over other pirates, that's fine. This is a thieves game. Of course, sinking other ships and stealing their loot is part of the game, and scuttling is an option that's been there since the release of the game in order to avoid conflict with players who may be constantly hunting people on the server. You can always hop servers if you really get annoyed. And the fact that every pirate is exactly the same, no matter how much time you have invested in the game, that the only difference is your experience level, makes it so that every time you encounter another crew, you'll have the exact same opportunities every single time to take them down and have your revenge. That being said, it is kind of the community's responsibility to not force the hand of Rare to start start looking for ways to control the voice chat properties of the game and to control some aspects of the game that would make the game safer for the community. The safety of the community should come from the community itself, and I think so far it's been working like that beautifully, and that makes the game a very fresh experience, I think, for a lot of people. So please, if you're playing Sea of Thieves and you're on the toxic end of the spectrum, you're welcome to play the pirate role and get into the role of this dirty build rat kind of character and get into character, but you're not welcome to make other people feel belittled and feel abused. And I guess that's basically, I think, what he's trying to get at here. And I mean, that's actually really commendable that he's talking about this to the community in a video like this. You know, some gaming companies will try to use hidden ways to control and censor the game in order to deal with these players. I'm really happy to hear that he addresses this directly instead of how maybe some other gaming companies might handle their community. He's been very upfront with it, and I think that that's definitely a payoff of him having shown his face for many, many months now with these developer update videos.
This game is for everybody, and what's been so great about it is to see the really diverse range of people that we've had playing Sea of Thieves since launch, and seeing all the adventures they've been going on together, and the respect that they've been treating each other with. And so, like, that is so important to me, and it's obviously very important to our community. Remember, it's a shared world adventure game, and everybody you encounter is another player on their own adventures. And if you engage in combat with people, which is of course absolutely fine, whether it's sword play, it's gun play, or it's ship-to-ship combat, like, do so with respect for other players, and treat those players with the kind of respect that you would expect to be treated with yourself. You know, fight with honor out on the seas. And remember, voice is a really powerful tool, and in so many ways in Sea of Thieves, it can be used in a fantastic way to communicate and to kind of have great adventures with your fellow players. But in the heat of battle, in the heat of combat, sometimes you might want to use that, or you might accidentally use it in the wrong way. But just think about, like, the people that you're playing with, the people that you're encountering, and the experience that they're having, and just make sure that you use voice in the right way in Sea of Thieves.
Yeah, exactly what I was just about to say, and exactly what I was just talking about. Definitely, I agree with everything he's saying here. And I think it's also another risk that Rare took with having voice chat like from the beginning in the game. The fact that we're allowed to use voice chat pretty openly is really good, and I hope that no big drama event happens where somebody really goes over far and beyond over abusing voice chat, and then we like get some kind of problem with that and affecting the entire community and what the rules of the game become, because that would really suck. I would hate to see that happen.
And a really important part of our code is that if you encounter new players, help them, show them the ropes, and think about their first experience in the game. If they have a great experience, they're going to want to stick around, they're going to want to keep playing, and that's great for all of us, because the more people we have playing Sea of Thieves, the better it is for everybody, and the more successful this game as a whole is going to be. And finally, we have a zero tolerance approach to cheating in Sea of Thieves.
So, some thoughts about this. I actually only ran into a hacker or anyone using third party or anything like that in the game once, like for sure. Like there are players who are have questionable aim, but being good at aiming has been a thing for many years now. It's nothing new. He was literally using double gun and he was shooting through the ship, literally through the hull. Like I would be standing like on the first deck where the map is, and he would be below the stairs, and he would shoot me from the opposite side of where the stairs are to me. So it's not like he was peeking out and shooting me without me noticing. He was literally on the other side. He shoots, double guns me, and one shots me instantly. So he had aimbot and he had wall hacks. But thankfully, I only ran into a hacker really only once in this game. I'm sure that what this whole video is about, what really this video is about, the fact that the arena is going to very much complicate and maybe compromise some player experience in the future. Because with arena, voice chat being available, profanity and abusing voice chat is definitely going to heighten, and using hacks, using third-party programs is going to have a higher impact on the game in general, and there's going to be way more incentive to go for using something like that. So I can see how this is a precaution video for what's coming with that update. One thing for sure, Rare is always prepared for the update that they release. They always prepare very diligently, and they always try to have foresight and use the insight that they have with the game to have foresight on what's going to happen when they release the update that they are anticipating releasing. So this is really admirable to see the amount of preparation that is going into this arena update. I'm guessing that this is really about that.
Team, it's our responsibility to make sure that we fix issues, or if people discover exploits, that we go and address those. But also we rely on you, the community, to make sure that you keep playing in the right way and you keep influencing and helping everybody understand what Sea of Thieves is and what makes it so special. So there's a small update going out to the game today, which mainly contains bug fixes, but I'll just go through and list what the changes are. Gilded Voyages can no longer be purchased, as they were a limited time thing for December. So the Whaling Barnacle time limited cosmetics from the Shrouded Spoils campaign have now been removed.
Speaking of a little bug, you can walk through Duke. There's no longer collision with Duke as they've moved him to the post. You can literally stand inside him and do the wave. So I don't know if that was intentional, but I think it's pretty funny. I hope it stays that way because it's kind of fun. You can kind of high five and point fingers into Duke. It's cute.
Beside that, some of the fixes that have gone into the build now. There was also an issue where occasionally when you were climbing to the top of ladders, you'd fall off the top of the ladder. We've now addressed that too.
Oh, there was also a bug with stairs in some of the newer forts. I think Old Boot Fort had some stairs where like you would look like you're climbing into like the floor, like your face would just kind of plant into the floor of where the stairs meets the top where you're climbing up, and then it would just boop you onto, like it would just glitch you up because the ladders are short or weird on that fort. I hope that this also was fixed, and I hope that's what he's talking about.
We've also moved the rewards around in the Kraken Watchtower vault because there was occasion where you weren't actually able to get to all of those. So now you should be able to pick all of those up.
Oh, the Kraken Watchtower. I know what he's talking about. I think it's the one where it was like I was spending literally I spent like 10 minutes jumping up and down with my entire like pro crew, like my best players, and we could not pick up like this skull, or like there was a gauntlet at one point that we couldn't get out of one of the caves. So there was sometimes treasure that would spawn in the caves of the active forts. After you finish it, you just could not pick it up. Um, there's just no way. It's glued to the rocks. There's no way. You can't use kegs. You can't use anything. So it's just hopeless. It was fun trying, but I'm glad. I think this is what this fix is for. So that's kind of nice to hear. But glad there's some patches here.
And finally, we've addressed more issues with server migration. Just some edge cases that were happening at certain points have now been addressed.
Server merging. I'm guessing he is not talking too much about it because there are some known big issues that were with the Skelly Cows where you dropped the anchor and all the loot was floating. If you guys haven't seen that video, the Space Pirates video, check it out.
So that's everything that's going into to this week's update. So I will see you on the seas. Cheers.
Alright, so this is a pretty small update. So basically we got finishing Shrouded Spoils update, wrapping that up, returning the game more or less to normal. I think the Shroud is still out there, so you're in, of course, all the new different types of mags and the scaly ships, all of that spawn rate is probably kept the same, because I remember last time that they would increase and decrease spawn rates of sharks and different events. They would mention it in the dev update videos, but they haven't mentioned here, so I'm kind of glad about that. I actually do like the amount of active random events that happen because it makes stocking your ship actually matter rather than, you know, sitting around on a ship with 300 of every supply and feeling like you're using 10% of that and then you like quit the game and it's like, well, that was fun. Hoarding all that supply was more or less pointless. Of course, for newer players, that's a little bit creepy. You know, having to deal with so many events in Sea of Thieves is pretty unfriendly in a way for the newer player base. But I personally don't mind as a more experienced, seasoned player. But I would probably expect or like that the events would happen more on the east coast of the map than the west coast, because the west coast is kind of this sunny, shiny stuff, and then the east coast is like this more like scary and darker area of the world, and then you got the Devil's Roar in the way southeast area, which is like even more east. So I feel like the farther east you go should be more danger zone kind of thing, similar to like say RuneScape. MMORPGs in general having like these areas that are like for higher level players that people don't go to, that look darker, look more menacing, having higher spawn rates in the more menacing areas of the Sea of Thieves map versus like less in like say areas where the Golden Sands are and the Sanctuary Outpost are, would be, I think, pretty smart for them to do. I don't know if they already are doing that, but that would be a small suggestion, I would say, to making the game a little more friendly overall. so that both more fresh players and more experienced players can enjoy the map in the same way and expect different spawn rates and different kind of experiences in different parts of the map, not just the islands being a little bit harder to park next to, like Shipwreck Bay and things like that. Anyway, this seemed like a pretty short update, not really too much. The bug fixes I'm pretty happy about. I've noticed from playing that there aren't really any specific bugs that I really want fixed. The only really big one is, of course, the hit marker, which I can't stress it enough. The hit marker needs to be somehow updated or somehow brought some attention to because it could be better. I think it could be more accurate. We could be a little more consistent with everything that happens. Anyway,